This is a quick video on RMarkdown. So here is just a quick agenda. So RMarkdown can be opened by just making a new file going here, clicking on Markdown, and then you can set a title, and the default settings are fine. And then this is the default document. But for right now, I'm actually going to use the document I already made. There is 3 different versions of RMarkdown that you can produce. To output the versions, you would click this button at the top. The 3 versions are HTML, PDF, and Word. HTML tends to be the quickest. PDF just tends to be what I think the prettiest. And Word, it produces a traditional Word document, and I actually don't recommend using Word because if you end up editing the Word document and rerunning the code, you can lose your edits. And it's a really good practice to make sure you're only editing your RMarkdown document and not going back and forth. So for this example, we're just going to do knit PDF. So let's look at our next one. So for chunks. Chunks is these gray parts that are within the document. This is where your code goes. The default setting is echo equals true, which this means. And what echo equals true does is it will show the code and run it. When echo equals false, it means it will not show the code, but it will still run it. And finally, there's the verbatim option, which is used by deleting the R section. So a way you can make a verbatim is just adding a chunk and then delete. That's how you make verbatim. And verbatim will show the code, but it won't run it. So the 3 are pretty different. It's important to know which one you want. You'll almost always use echo equals true or the default setting. And like I just showed, to make a new chunk, go insert chunk. The next big thing is new lines or new pages. When writing words, if you start a new line and type more words, when you knit, it actually is going to put them all on the same line. This is really frustrating when you're first starting out because it's kind of confusing and you're like, I started a new line. What happened? And it's just the way our Markdown's document goes. So here you can see they're all on the same line. And the way you can fix that is just doing double spaces at the end of each line, or alternatively, instead of just jumping down 1 line, jump down 2. That will also make sure you start a new line. The next other thing that I want to talk about is making a new page. You can literally just do /new page, and that will make a new page. So we'll just knit this really quick. All right, so now we see that words, 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 and words, more words are in different lines, and we have a new page with data. Okay, the next is special characters. So you can do bold, italics, titles, and LaTeX, which is actually making math equations in your document. So to make bold, you just do the double asterisk or double stars. Italic is single stars, and instead of writing bold, you would write the word you want bolded. 1 hashtag is a big title, 2 hashtags is medium, 3 is small. And we'll go ahead and take a look at that. So here's our big, medium, small title, our bold and italicized words. And of course, you can make a sentence surrounding the bolded word. That's totally fine. And then for LaTeX, I'm actually going to show you a quick website. This website helps you build your own LaTeX code. You can just press the buttons and then make your own equation. So for instance, I just made that. It's going to refresh in a second. This is your preview. It sometimes takes a second to refresh, but this will give you your idea of what LaTeX code should look like, and you can actually just copy and paste into your R document. To tell R that you have LaTeX code, you need to do double dollar signs or single dollar signs. Single dollar signs means that the code is within a sentence or is treated like that. Code is a new line. Code is a new line when it's double dollar signs. So we'll go ahead and take a look at what that looks like. So here we go. And that's how you do embedded math equations. If you're comfortable with LaTeX, you can absolutely just type it in. If you're not, I really recommend using this website, which will help you create your own equations, and it's pretty intuitive. The last thing I want to talk about is common issues. For coding, there is a global environment and a local environment. Your global environment is always displayed in R right here, and it's super helpful. And your local environment tends to be the variables defined within a function. The RMarkdown environment is something else entirely. So when you have a value defined, so we have X defined, and it's in our global environment, but it's not defined yet in our RMarkdown. It is right here. If we didn't define it and we were to run, we'd get an error because this RMarkdown environment actually doesn't talk to your global environment. It only communicates within the document. So you need to make sure that if you defined a variable globally, that you go back and redefine it in your RMarkdown document. So if we copy paste, the code should run fine now because we defined it within the document. It's also important to note that R evaluates chunk by chunk. So although I defined X in the document now, I can't call X over here. It will give me an error. But I can define X if I entered a new chunk. This will work because we already defined X in an earlier chunk. So that's really important, that your chunks need to be in order. This counts for variables, which I just showed you, and also libraries. If you use a function within a library, but you define the library later on, it's not going to work. You need to make sure you load the library into your R Markdown document. The last common issue is just writing your document too quickly. It's really tempting to start writing the document and not run it until the very end. I don't recommend this. Every time you do a section, run it and make sure it's doing exactly what you wanted it to do. And that's R Markdown in a nutshell.